Have you ever found yourself feeling alone and wondering if there's something wrong with being by yourself? Do you sometimes feel like you need the company of others to feel complete? What if I told you that being alone is not only normal, but can also be one of the most powerful experiences you can have? Imagine a quiet space where no one is around, and you are left with just your thoughts. How does that make you feel? Is it uncomfortable, or does it offer you peace? Let's think of a simple example. Have you ever walked alone in a park or sat by yourself in a quiet room? At first, it might feel strange or even lonely, but after a while, something shifts. You begin to notice things you didn't before. The sound of the wind, the way your mind relaxes, and the thoughts that rise to the surface. This is the power of solitude, and it holds incredible potential for personal growth. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we explore these deep truths together. In today's video, we will uncover why being alone is so powerful. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% of viewers subscribe. If you find value in what we share, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring more valuable content to you. Now, let's dive deeper into the true essence of being alone. Often, we mistake solitude for loneliness, but they are not the same. Solitude is a choice, an opportunity to step away from the noise and distractions of everyday life and look inward. It's in these quiet moments that we discover who we really are, away from the influence of others. In Buddhism, solitude is often viewed as a path to inner wisdom. It is in moments of aloneness that one can meditate, reflect, and grow. In fact, many spiritual leaders, including the Buddha, have sought solitude to find clarity and enlightenment. Being alone allows us to break free from the pressures and expectations placed on us by society. It gives us space to breathe, to think, and to truly be ourselves. Throughout this video, we will explore how embracing solitude can lead to personal transformation, a deeper understanding of yourself, and even greater peace. So, stay with us as we unfold these powerful insights, discovering inner strength in silence. Dear listener, let us sit together for a while. Breathe in and breathe out. Feel the stillness around you. In this moment, there is no rush, no noise, just the quietness of the present moment. Do you feel that? It is the power of silence, where the mind begins to settle and the heart starts to open. Silence is not just the absence of sound, but a space where you can truly hear yourself, where you discover something deeper within you. Your inner strength. Many of us are constantly surrounded by noise, external and internal. There's the noise of daily life, people talking, cars driving, phones ringing. Then, there's the noise inside our own heads, the endless stream of thoughts, worries, and doubts. It can feel overwhelming, like we are trapped in this chaos. But what if I told you that the key to escaping this chaos is not outside, but inside? Silence is the doorway. Through it, we find a strength that doesn't depend on anyone else, a strength that comes from within. You see, in silence, you confront yourself. At first, it can be uncomfortable. When the distractions fade away, you are left alone with your thoughts, your fears, and your emotions. But don't be afraid. This is the process of self-discovery. Silence invites you to sit with these feelings, not to run from them, but to face them with courage. And as you do, something remarkable happens. You begin to understand that these thoughts and emotions don't define you. They are temporary, like passing clouds in the sky. Beneath them, there is a clear, calm space that is always present. This space is your true self, your inner strength. Many people fear being alone because they think they are not strong enough to handle it. They believe they need the company of others to feel secure, to feel supported. But the truth is, real strength doesn't come from outside. It comes from within. When you spend time in silence, when you are alone with yourself, you begin to realize just how strong you truly are. You don't need the approval of others. You don't need constant noise and distraction. You have everything you need inside you. Think about the great spiritual teachers throughout history. Many of them sought out solitude and silence to find their inner strength. The Buddha, for example, sat alone under the Bodhi tree in deep meditation. In that silence, he discovered the truth of life and the strength to carry it forward to others. His journey shows us that it is not in the company of others that we find ourselves, but in the quiet moments of solitude. When you sit in silence, you are not running away from the world. Instead, you are learning how to engage with the world from a place of strength and wisdom. Now, you may ask, how do I discover this inner strength? How do I connect with myself in the silence? The answer is simple but not always easy. You must practice being with yourself. It can start with something as small as sitting quietly for a few minutes each day. In those few minutes, resist the urge to distract yourself with your phone or with other people's conversations. Just sit, listen to your breath, feel the sensations in your body. Notice the thoughts that arise, but don't engage with them. Let them pass by like clouds. Over time, as you practice this simple act of sitting with yourself, you will begin to feel a shift. The noise will quiet down, and in its place, you will start to hear the voice of your own inner wisdom. This is the voice that tells you that you are enough, just as you are. It reminds you that your worth is not tied to what others think of you, nor to how busy or productive you are. Your true worth comes from your being, from the still, silent place within you. This inner strength is always there, but we often forget about it because we are too caught up in the noise of life. Solitude and silence help us remember. As you continue on this journey of discovering your inner strength, you will notice something wonderful. The more time you spend in silence, the less you need external validation. You begin to trust yourself more. You stop seeking approval from others and instead rely on your own inner guidance. This doesn't mean you isolate yourself from the world. On the contrary, it means you can engage with the world more fully, from a place of confidence and strength. In Buddhism, there is a teaching that reminds us of this truth. It is called inner refuge. It means that true safety and strength come from within, not from external circumstances. No matter what happens around you, whether people come or go, whether life is easy or challenging, you can always find refuge in your own heart. This refuge is built through silence, through moments of solitude, where you connect with the deeper part of yourself that is unshakable. Now, let's take a moment to reflect. When was the last time you truly sat in silence? When was the last time you allowed yourself to be alone, without any distractions? If it's been a while, don't worry. This journey doesn't have to be rushed. You can start small, with just a few minutes of silence each day. As you do, notice how you begin to feel more grounded, more centered. Notice how your inner strength starts to reveal itself, little by little. It's always been there, waiting for you to discover it. And as you continue to explore this inner world, you will begin to realize something profound. Your true strength doesn't come from the outside world. It doesn't come from how many friends you have, how much money you make, or how busy you are. Your true strength comes from your connection to yourself. In silence and solitude, this connection grows stronger. So, I invite you to embrace silence, not as something to fear, but as a gift. It is a space where you can discover who you truly are. It is a path to inner strength, a strength that no one can take away from you. This is the power of being alone, the power of silence. When you can sit with yourself in stillness, you realize that you are never truly alone. You are always connected to something greater, the wisdom and strength within you. Take this knowledge with you. Let it be a reminder that you are stronger than you think, and that silence is not an absence, but a presence that holds the key to your inner strength. Embracing solitude for self-realization. Welcome to the journey within. You see, solitude is not about being lonely or isolated from the world. It is about connecting deeply with your true self. In our busy lives, we are surrounded by noise, external voices, opinions, and distractions. Solitude, however, offers us the rare chance to strip all of that away and focus on the essence of who we are. Let me explain this to you in a very simple way. Imagine a calm lake, still and clear. When the wind blows, or people throw stones into the water, the surface ripples, and you can't see clearly beneath. But when the wind stops and the water is still, the lake becomes like a mirror. You can see deep into its depths, and it reflects the sky above perfectly. Solitude is like that still lake. It allows your mind and heart to settle, so you can see clearly into your own being. Being alone is often misunderstood. People think it's a sign of weakness, sadness, or failure, but in truth, it's a powerful opportunity. In solitude, you are free from the expectations and judgments of others. You don't have to wear any masks or pretend to be anything other than what you are. It is in these quiet moments that you come face to face with your authentic self. In Buddhism, there is a deep respect for solitude because it is seen as a path to self-realization. The Buddha himself spent time in solitude to understand the nature of life and suffering. By turning inward, he discovered truths that transformed not just his own life, but the lives of millions of others. In the same way, when you allow yourself to be alone, you give yourself the chance to uncover your own truths, to understand your purpose, and to grow. But here's something important to remember. Being alone doesn't mean you should feel isolated or disconnected from the world. Solitude is about finding a balance where you can be with yourself and feel whole, even without the presence of others. It's about realizing that you are complete as you are, without needing validation or approval from the outside world. As you sit with yourself in moments of solitude, you begin to notice things. Maybe at first, your mind is full of thoughts, worries about work, relationships, or the future. But slowly, as you sit in the quiet, these thoughts begin to settle, like the ripples on the lake. You start to hear something deeper. Your intuition, your inner wisdom, your true desires. This is the gift of solitude. Self-realization is a process, and solitude is one of its most powerful tools. It teaches you to listen to yourself, to understand your emotions, and to recognize what truly matters to you. Often, we are so busy listening to others that we forget to listen to our own hearts. In solitude, that inner voice becomes louder, clearer, and more honest. It tells you things you might have been avoiding or ignoring. And while that can be uncomfortable at times, it is always necessary for growth. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you truly sat alone, without distractions, and simply allowed yourself to be? Not checking your phone, not worrying about what others think, just being with yourself. For many of us, that's a rare experience. But those moments, however rare, are incredibly valuable. They remind you that you are enough, that you are whole on your own. In solitude, you are not running away from the world. You are preparing yourself to engage with it in a deeper, more meaningful way. By understanding yourself, by becoming comfortable with your own company, you develop strength, clarity, and peace. When you return to the world, you bring those qualities with you. You are not swayed by the opinions of others because you know your own mind. You are not afraid of being alone because you have found peace within yourself. One of the greatest lessons solitude offers is the ability to be present. When you are alone, there is no rush, no one else's agenda to follow. You are free to be in the moment, to fully experience life as it is right now. This is where mindfulness and solitude meet. In those quiet moments, you become aware of the beauty of the present. The sound of the wind, the feeling of your breath, the beating of your heart. You realize that life is happening now, not in the past or the future, but in this very moment. As you spend time in solitude, you may also find that your relationships with others improve. How? Because when you know yourself, when you are comfortable in your own skin, you are able to connect with others in a more authentic way. You no longer need others to fill a void or to make you feel complete. Instead, you approach relationships from a place of wholeness. You can give more freely, love more deeply, and listen more openly because you are not seeking something in return. Solitude is also where creativity flourishes. Many of the world's greatest thinkers, artists, and spiritual leaders found inspiration in moments of solitude. When you are alone, your mind is free to wander, to explore new ideas, and to see the world from a different perspective. You might find that in your quiet moments, solutions to problems suddenly appear, or new ideas take shape. This is because, in solitude, your mind is not distracted by the noise of the world. It has space to breathe, to think, and to create. Now, I'm not saying that solitude is always easy. In fact, it can be challenging at first. We are so used to constant stimulation and company that being alone can feel uncomfortable. But like anything, it gets easier with practice. And once you experience the peace and clarity that solitude brings, you will begin to crave those quiet moments. You will see them not as a punishment or something to avoid, but as a gift, a time to reconnect with yourself. Remember, solitude is not about shutting the world out. It's about tuning into yourself. It's about creating space for your mind and heart to breathe. It's about finding the strength, wisdom, and peace that already exist within you. The next time you find yourself alone, embrace it, sit with it, let the quiet surround you, and listen to what it has to say. In Buddhism, this practice of solitude is known as retreating into yourself, not to escape but to understand. The greatest understanding you can achieve is not of the world but of yourself. And solitude is the key to unlocking that understanding. As you continue on this journey of self-realization through solitude, remember that every moment alone is an opportunity. It's an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to become the best version of yourself. It's in these moments that you discover your true strength, your true purpose, and your true self. Now, take a deep breath and let that silence fill you with peace. You are on the path to self-realization, and solitude is your guide. The path of inner peace through aloneness. The journey of inner peace. It is often a quiet one, a path that winds through the depths of your own heart. The world is full of noise, isn't it? Constant chatter, endless opinions, distractions everywhere you turn. It's easy to lose yourself in it all, to feel pulled in 1,000 directions, and to forget the stillness that exists within you. But there is a way to return to that stillness, to find peace in the midst of chaos. That way is through aloneness. Many people fear being alone. They think that solitude means isolation, a separation from the world that brings sadness or loneliness. But this is a misunderstanding. Aloneness is not a punishment. It is a gift, a space where you can meet yourself. It is in this space of quiet that you can finally hear the whispers of your soul. When you are alone, truly alone, without distractions, you begin to uncover who you really are. Think about it. When was the last time you sat with yourself, without reaching for your phone, without turning on the TV, without distracting your mind? In the silence, there is peace waiting for you. But peace doesn't shout or demand attention. It only reveals itself to those who are willing to sit quietly, patiently. In Buddhism, this concept is central to understanding the nature of the mind. The Buddha himself found enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, alone. He sat with his thoughts, his fears, his doubts, and his desires. He didn't run away from them, nor did he seek the company of others to escape them. Instead, he embraced the stillness, and in doing so, he found the deepest truth. This is the essence of inner peace, accepting the aloneness of the moment and using it as a tool for awakening. But how do we find this peace in our own lives? In the modern world, it can seem impossible. We are always connected, always distracted by something or someone. Yet, the first step is simple. Find a moment each day to be by yourself. Even 5 minutes in silence can be transformative. Sit down, close your eyes, and just breathe. Notice how your mind races at first, trying to fill the space with thoughts. This is normal. Don't fight it. Instead, let those thoughts come and go, like clouds passing through the sky. Eventually, the clouds will part, and you will glimpse the clear sky of your mind. Aloneness is the bridge to this clear sky. It is through the practice of being alone that we learn to let go of the constant need for external validation. When you are alone, there is no one to impress, no one to judge you. It is just you, in your purest form. This can be frightening for some because it means facing all parts of yourself, the good, the bad, and the unknown. But it is also incredibly free. You are no longer bound by the expectations of others. You can be exactly who you are. As you walk the path of inner peace through aloneness, you will begin to notice a shift. The things that once disturbed your mind will have less power over you. The opinions of others will matter less, and you will feel more centered in your own truth. This is not something that happens overnight. It takes practice, patience, and a willingness to embrace discomfort. But slowly, peace will become your natural state. One of the key teachings in Buddhism is that peace is always available to us, but we must learn how to access it. We must train our minds to be still. This doesn't mean that we shut out the world or avoid relationships. On the contrary, when we find peace within ourselves, we can engage with the world in a more meaningful way. We can form deeper connections with others because we are no longer looking to them to complete us. Instead, we are whole, and from that wholeness, We can share genuine love and compassion. Solitude is a powerful tool in this process. When you are alone, you have the opportunity to observe your mind without distraction. You can see how your thoughts rise and fall, how your emotions shift and change. This observation is the foundation of mindfulness, another essential practice in Buddhism. Mindfulness means paying attention to the present moment without judgment. And what better way to practice mindfulness than in solitude, where the only thing you have to focus on is yourself? As you spend more time in solitude, you will begin to understand yourself on a deeper level. You will see your patterns, your habits, and your tendencies more clearly. And with this understanding comes the ability to change. You will notice the moments when your mind becomes restless or anxious, and instead of running away from those feelings, you will be able to sit with them. You will realize that these emotions are temporary, like waves on the ocean. They come and go, but the ocean itself, the deeper part of you, remains calm and steady. This is the inner peace that aloneness offers. It is a peace that cannot be shaken by external circumstances because it comes from within. It is a peace that is always available to you, no matter what is happening around you. But to access it, you must be willing to walk the path of solitude. You must be willing to face yourself fully with all your imperfections and fears. Only then can you find the stillness that lies beneath the surface. As you continue on this journey, remember that aloneness is not about withdrawing from life. It is about reconnecting with yourself so that you can engage with life more fully. The more comfortable you become in your own company, the more you will be able to bring peace into your relationships, your work, and your everyday experiences. This is the gift of solitude. It nourishes your soul and allows you to share that nourishment with the world. So, I encourage you to embrace your moments of aloneness. See them not as something to avoid, but as an opportunity for growth and peace. Each time you sit in solitude, you are cultivating inner peace. Each time you embrace the quiet, you are stepping closer to your true self. This is the path to lasting peace, and it begins with the simple act of being alone. Now, take a deep breath. Feel the stillness around you. This is your moment, your time to be alone with yourself. Let it be a time of peace. Let it be a time of healing. And let it be a time of transformation, unlocking creative potential in solitude. Ah, solitude. The quiet moments when the world fades into the background and you are left with yourself. In these moments, there is a vast, untouched space inside you, waiting to be explored. Solitude is not just about being alone. It's about entering a sacred space where ideas and creativity blossom. Without distractions, without the constant buzz of life, the mind becomes fertile ground for inspiration. Imagine a still pond. When it is undisturbed, the surface is clear, and you can see deep into its depths. Our minds work much the same way. When we are constantly surrounded by people, noise, and tasks, the surface of our thoughts is rippled. But when we find solitude, the mind settles, and in that stillness, creativity begins to rise like clear reflections in the water. You might have heard of many artists, writers, and thinkers who seek solitude to do their best work. This is not a coincidence. Solitude has a magical way of unlocking parts of the mind that often stay hidden when we are busy. The great thinkers and creators throughout history, many of them sought solitude to tap into their deepest creativity. Think of this. When you are alone, there is no one to judge you, no one to interrupt your thoughts. It is in this space that your mind can wander freely, exploring new ideas without limitations. You are free to dream, to experiment, and to let your imagination soar. Whether it's painting, writing, or problem solving, solitude becomes a powerful tool to help you create from the heart. Now, don't think that solitude is only for professional artists or writers. Every one of us is creative in our own way. You might not think of yourself as creative, but in solitude, you can discover that creativity is not limited to art or music. It's about finding new ways to solve problems, seeing life from different angles, and coming up with ideas that you hadn't considered before. In Buddhist philosophy, solitude is often used as a way to open the mind to deeper understanding. When we quiet the noise of the outside world, we begin to hear the subtle whispers of our inner wisdom. Creativity flows naturally when the mind is uncluttered by distractions. This is why monks and spiritual seekers often retreat to quiet places. They know that in the stillness, the mind becomes clearer and the answers to life's questions can emerge. Have you ever noticed that some of your best ideas come when you're alone? Perhaps while taking a walk, sitting quietly in a room, or even while doing something simple like washing dishes. It's during these times, when you are not actively trying to think, that inspiration strikes. This is the beauty of solitude. It creates the perfect environment for new thoughts to emerge effortlessly. Solitude is not about isolation or loneliness. In fact, it is in these moments of being alone that you are most connected to yourself. When there is no one around to influence your thoughts or actions, you have the freedom to explore your own mind deeply. And within that exploration, creativity comes to life. For many, the idea of being alone can feel intimidating. We are so used to filling our time with distractions, with other people's opinions, that we often forget how to simply sit with ourselves. But solitude is not something to fear. It is an opportunity, a gift that allows you to cultivate your inner world. In Buddhism, this practice of being alone is known as retreating within. When we retreat within, we are not running away from the world, but rather reconnecting with the source of our creativity and wisdom. Solitude gives us the space to reflect, to recharge, and to create something new from a place of peace and clarity. Many of us fear that being alone means being unproductive, or that we need constant activity to feel valuable. But the truth is, it is in solitude where some of the greatest creative breakthroughs happen. The quiet moments allow you to take a step back and see the bigger picture. Sometimes, we are so caught up in the rush of life that we forget to pause and let our minds catch up. Solitude allows us to do just that. Think about it. When you are constantly surrounded by noise, how can you hear the quiet voice of creativity? How can you see clearly when your mind is always filled with the chatter of everyday life? Solitude is like clearing the fog, allowing your true creative potential to shine through. Remember, creativity does not need to be forced. It flows naturally when you give it space. And the space you create in solitude is a sanctuary for your mind to explore freely. Some people fear that being alone will lead to boredom, but boredom can actually be the doorway to creativity. When there is nothing to distract you, your mind begins to play, to wander into new territories. In moments of solitude, your thoughts have room to breathe. Ideas begin to connect in ways you hadn't seen before. Solutions to problems that seemed impossible suddenly become clear. This is the gift of solitude, the ability to unlock a deeper, more creative part of yourself. So, do not be afraid of solitude. Embrace it as a friend, as a place where you can retreat to find inspiration and insight. In solitude, you will discover that the limits you thought existed were only illusions. Your creative potential is infinite, waiting to be unlocked in the quiet moments you spend alone. Solitude is not about escaping the world. It is about creating from within, finding that endless source of creativity that lies in all of us. Allow yourself the gift of time alone, and see what beautiful creations arise from the stillness, transforming loneliness into empowerment. Loneliness. It is a feeling that all of us have experienced at some point in our lives. The heavy weight of isolation, the sense that no one understands us, and the longing for connection. It can feel overwhelming. But, my dear friend, what if I told you that loneliness is not your enemy? In fact, loneliness can be transformed into one of your greatest sources of strength. It may sound surprising, but the very feeling that you wish to escape can become the foundation of your empowerment. You see, loneliness is not the absence of people. It is the absence of connection. When we sit in solitude, we often focus on what is missing: the conversations, the company, the distractions. We long for something outside of ourselves to fill that space. But what if, instead of seeking something external, we turned inward? What if we saw loneliness not as a void, but as an opportunity to reconnect with ourselves? Imagine this: a time when you were feeling lonely, sitting in your room or walking by yourself. In those moments, the mind wanders to memories, worries, and sometimes even to the fear of being alone. But what if, instead of letting your thoughts control you, you chose to sit quietly and observe? Instead of running from the discomfort, you stayed with it, embraced it, and listened to what it had to teach you. This is where the transformation begins. Loneliness is often seen as something negative, something to be avoided. But as a Zen master, I tell you that loneliness is a signal. It is telling you that you have a relationship with yourself that needs attention. When we are constantly surrounded by others, we often forget to nurture that most important relationship, the one we have with our own being. We fill our lives with noise and activity, thinking that this will make us happy. But true happiness and empowerment come from within. When you find yourself feeling lonely, instead of reaching for your phone or turning on the television, take a deep breath. Sit in the silence and let your mind settle. It will feel uncomfortable at first, like stepping into cold water, but give it time. The discomfort will pass, and what remains is a quiet sense of presence. This is where empowerment lies. Think of a tree standing alone in the middle of a field. It does not seek out other trees to lean on or depend on the forest for its strength. It stands tall, rooted in the earth, drawing its nourishment from the soil beneath and the sky above. It has learned to be strong by itself, to thrive in solitude. You, too, can learn to stand strong in your solitude. When you stop resisting the feeling of loneliness and start embracing it, you become like that tree, grounded, resilient, and full of life. In Buddhism, there is a great focus on the inner self. Meditation, mindfulness, and reflection are all tools that help us turn inward, to look at the mind and heart with clarity. When we meditate, we often do it in solitude, not to feel lonely, but to reconnect with the self. It is in this quietness that we begin to see the truth of who we are. Loneliness, then, becomes a teacher, guiding us towards self-awareness. But how do we transform loneliness into empowerment? It begins with acceptance. You must first accept that feeling lonely is a natural part of life. There is no need to push it away or judge yourself for feeling this way. Accept it as it is. Once you do, you can begin to explore what lies beneath the surface. Ask yourself, why do I feel lonely? What is it that I am truly longing for? Often, the answer is not other people, but a deeper connection with yourself. Empowerment comes when you realize that you have everything you need within you. You do not need to look outside for validation, approval, or love. All of that exists inside your own heart. When you embrace your solitude, you begin to cultivate self-reliance, confidence, and inner peace. You no longer depend on the presence of others to feel whole. You realize that you are enough just as you are. Loneliness can also spark creativity. Many of the world's greatest thinkers, artists, and spiritual leaders spent time alone, not to isolate themselves, but to connect with the creative energy within. When you are alone, your mind has the space to wander, to explore new ideas, and to discover insights that may have been hidden in the busyness of life. Solitude allows you to tap into your own unique wisdom, to find solutions and inspiration from within. So, the next time you feel lonely, remember this: you are not alone in your loneliness. Every human being experiences it at some point, but what makes the difference is how you respond to it. Will you let it make you feel small, or will you use it as a tool for growth? Will you let loneliness weaken you, or will you transform it into empowerment? The choice is always yours. And that is the essence of true power, the power to choose how you experience your life. Solitude is not a prison. It is a path to freedom. It is in these moments of aloneness that you discover your true strength, your true self. And once you find that strength, you will carry it with you, no matter where you go or who you are with. Embrace your solitude, my friend. It is not something to be feared, but something to be cherished. In the quiet of your own company, you will find a depth of wisdom and peace that no one else can give you. This is the gift of loneliness. It offers you the chance to become empowered, to stand tall and free, like the lone tree in the field, strong and unwavering, rooted in the earth of your own being. And remember, solitude is not forever. It is a tool, a practice, a moment in time. When you learn to be alone and to enjoy your own company, you bring that same sense of peace and empowerment into your relationships with others. You no longer need others to fill a void because there is no void. You are whole, complete, and strong in your solitude. Spiritual growth through solitude. In the stillness of solitude, we find a path to spiritual growth. Imagine yourself sitting quietly, away from the noise of the world. It is in this quiet space that the mind begins to settle and the heart starts to open. When we allow ourselves to be alone, we create a sacred space for reflection. This space is where we can connect with our true selves and discover deeper truths. As we sit in solitude, we may encounter thoughts and feelings we often ignore in the hustle and bustle of daily life. Perhaps there is fear or sadness hidden beneath the surface. At first, it may feel uncomfortable to face these emotions alone, but as we breathe into them, they begin to transform. In solitude, we learn to be gentle with ourselves, to accept our imperfections, and to understand that it is okay to feel lost at times. This understanding is the beginning of healing. Buddhism teaches that solitude is a vital aspect of spiritual practice. The Buddha himself spent years in meditation alone, seeking enlightenment. Through solitude, he found clarity and wisdom. In the same way, when we take time to be alone, we give ourselves the opportunity to listen to our inner voice. This voice is wise and kind. It knows our true path. When we are surrounded by others, it can be easy to lose sight of what we truly desire. We may start to shape our choices based on what others think or expect. But in solitude, we can strip away these influences. We can ask ourselves questions like, what do I truly want? Or, what makes me happy? This introspection allows us to reconnect with our passions and dreams. It is a chance to rediscover what truly matters to us. As we delve deeper into our solitude, we also cultivate mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being present in the moment without judgment. In the quiet of our own company, we can observe our thoughts as if they were clouds passing in the sky. We learn to let go of those that no longer serve us, allowing space for new insights and perspectives to emerge. This practice is vital for spiritual growth, as it teaches us to be aware of our patterns and habits. Through solitude, we also learn the art of meditation. Meditation is a way to quiet the mind and find stillness within. It is like planting a seed of peace in the garden of our hearts. As we nurture this seed through regular practice, it begins to blossom. We find that even amidst chaos, we can return to this place of calm. This inner peace is a treasure that we carry with us, allowing us to respond to life's challenges with grace and wisdom. Moreover, solitude opens the door to self-discovery. In this sacred time alone, we can explore our values, beliefs, and aspirations. We can ask ourselves profound questions. Who am I beyond my roles and responsibilities? What brings me joy? These questions lead us to uncover our authentic selves, free from external expectations. When we understand ourselves deeply, we can live more fully and authentically. As we journey through solitude, we may also encounter moments of stillness where we can connect with the universe. This connection reminds us that we are part of something much larger. In those quiet moments, we may feel a sense of belonging, a realization that we are not alone in our aloneness. This sense of connection nurtures our spirit and brings comfort to our hearts. Spiritual growth through solitude is not always a smooth path. There may be days when we feel overwhelmed by our thoughts and emotions. In these moments, it is essential to be patient and compassionate with ourselves. Growth takes time, just like a tree takes time to grow from a tiny seed. The more we practice being alone, the more we learn about ourselves and the world around us. As we continue to embrace solitude, we begin to develop a sense of inner strength. This strength comes from knowing that we can find peace within ourselves, regardless of the chaos outside. We become resilient, able to navigate life's challenges with a calm mind and an open heart. In conclusion, the journey of spiritual growth through solitude is a precious gift. It invites us to step away from the noise of the world and into the sacred space of our hearts. Here, we find healing, mindfulness, and self-discovery. We learn to embrace our true selves and connect with the universe. Solitude teaches us that we are never truly alone. We carry the essence of our spirit with us always. As we nurture this connection, we unlock the door to profound spiritual growth. Let this understanding of solitude resonate within you, guiding you on your path to deeper wisdom and peace. Embrace the moments of being alone, for they are the seeds of your spiritual journey. Solitude as a gateway to self-love. In the stillness of solitude, a beautiful journey unfolds. When we are alone, we can turn our gaze inward. It is a chance to discover who we truly are, beneath the layers of expectations and distractions. This journey often leads us to the profound realization that self-love is the foundation of a fulfilling life. Imagine sitting quietly, perhaps in a peaceful corner of your home or under the shade of a tree. The world around you may be bustling, but in this moment, there is only you. Your thoughts drift like leaves on a gentle breeze. Each thought is an invitation to understand yourself better. What do you love about yourself? What are your strengths? What makes you feel whole? In solitude, these questions can surface without the noise of outside opinions. Self-love is not just about feeling good. It's about acceptance. It's about acknowledging your flaws and imperfections as part of your unique journey. Many people struggle with self-judgment, often being their harshest critics. But solitude offers a different perspective. When we are alone, we can learn to be kind to ourselves. We can practice self-compassion, allowing space for our mistakes and our growth. It's in this space that we begin to heal. Buddhism teaches us that to love ourselves, we must first understand ourselves. Solitude is the gateway to this understanding. As we sit in silence, we can reflect on our past experiences, the joys and the sorrows, the successes and the failures. Each memory holds a lesson. Instead of letting these memories weigh us down, we can learn to embrace them. They shape us, but they do not define us. Think of the lotus flower. It grows in muddy waters, yet it blooms beautifully above the surface. This is much like our journey. We may have faced struggles and challenges, but those experiences are part of what makes us who we are. In solitude, we can recognize that even in our struggles, there is beauty. Embracing our imperfections allows us to cultivate self-love. As we explore self-love through solitude, we can also learn to celebrate our achievements, big and small. When we are alone, we have the opportunity to acknowledge our hard work without comparing ourselves to others. Take a moment to reflect on your journey. What have you accomplished? What risks have you taken? Each step forward is a reason to celebrate. In solitude, we can give ourselves the recognition we deserve. It's essential to remember that self-love is not selfish. When we love ourselves, we create a solid foundation from which to give love to others. It allows us to build healthier relationships and to be more compassionate towards those around us. When we fill our own cups, we can share that abundance with others. Solitude teaches us that to care for others, we must first care for ourselves. While in solitude, take time to practice mindfulness. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Feel the air fill your lungs and release any tension in your body. This simple act of breathing connects us to the present moment. It helps us become aware of our feelings and thoughts. In these moments, we can ask ourselves, how do I feel right now? Am I kind to myself? Am I forgiving? Mindfulness and solitude can lead us to a deeper understanding of our needs. In Buddhism, meditation is a vital practice for cultivating self-love. When we meditate, we create a space to observe our thoughts without judgment. It's a practice of letting go of negativity and embracing the present moment. Each time we sit in silence, we are giving ourselves the gift of love and acceptance. This practice can transform how we see ourselves in our lives. Solitude is a powerful teacher. It reveals the truth of our hearts and minds. When we learn to sit with our thoughts and feelings, we begin to see ourselves more clearly. This clarity fosters self-acceptance. It allows us to let go of the fear of judgment from others. In solitude, we can find peace in our own company. As we nurture self-love through solitude, it is also important to set boundaries. Sometimes, we may find ourselves overwhelmed by the demands of others. Learning to say no is a vital part of loving ourselves. When we prioritize our needs, we honor our journey and our well-being. Solitude empowers us to create boundaries that protect our energy. Consider the idea of a garden. When we tend to our garden, we nourish the soil and remove weeds. This care allows our flowers to bloom beautifully. Our hearts are like that garden. By nurturing self-love, we create a flourishing inner world. Solitude provides the time and space needed to cultivate this love. In moments of solitude, let your imagination run free. Dream about your future, your aspirations, and the life you wish to create. This is a time to envision the possibilities. When we allow ourselves to dream, we awaken a sense of hope and purpose. Self-love thrives in an environment where dreams are nurtured and cherished. Lastly, remember that the journey to self-love is ongoing. Solitude will be your ally along the way. Each time you return to that quiet space within, You reinforce your commitment to yourself. With each moment spent in solitude, you become more aware of your worth and beauty. Embrace this journey with an open heart. Solitude is not just a time to be alone. It is a time to become whole. Let solitude be your teacher, guiding you to a place of love and acceptance. As you navigate this path, may you discover the incredible power of being alone, and may it lead you to the deepest love you can ever experience, the love you have for yourself. The connection between solitude and enlightenment. In the stillness of being alone, there lies a profound opportunity to connect with the essence of life itself. This connection can guide us towards enlightenment. In our busy world, many distractions pull us away from our true selves. Yet, when we find moments of solitude, we can peel back the layers that often obscure our understanding of who we are. Imagine a tranquil lake. When the water is still, you can see the reflections of the sky, the trees, and the mountains. But when the wind blows, the surface becomes choppy, and those reflections become unclear. Our minds are much like that lake. When filled with noise and distraction, it is hard to see our true nature. In solitude, we calm the waters of our mind, allowing us to reflect deeply on our thoughts and feelings. In Buddhism, solitude is cherished as a sacred space for meditation and introspection. It is in these quiet moments that the whispers of our heart become louder. We can ask ourselves important questions. What brings me joy? What are my fears? What do I truly value? In solitude, the answers begin to emerge. They rise to the surface like bubbles in water, revealing truths we might have overlooked. As we sit quietly with ourselves, we become aware of our thoughts. At first, they may seem chaotic, like leaves swirling in the wind. But with patience, we learn to observe these thoughts without judgment. This practice allows us to understand the patterns of our mind. We notice the negative thoughts that might hold us back, the doubts that cloud our vision, and the dreams that spark our passion. Through this awareness, we start to see that we are not our thoughts. We are the observer of those thoughts. This realization is liberating. It frees us from being trapped in a cycle of endless thinking and reacting. Instead, we cultivate a sense of peace, knowing that we can choose how we respond to the world around us. Solitude is also a time for self-compassion. In the company of others, we might feel the pressure to present a certain image, to wear a mask of happiness, or to meet expectations. But when we are alone, we can let go of those masks. We can be honest with ourselves about our struggles, our fears, and our imperfections. This honesty is the first step towards healing and growth. As we nurture ourselves in solitude, we also cultivate empathy. When we learn to accept our own imperfections, we can better understand the struggles of others. This understanding deepens our connection to humanity. It allows us to extend compassion not only to ourselves, but also to those around us. In moments of solitude, we can also tap into our creativity. The quiet space allows our imagination to flourish. Ideas come to life when we are not distracted by external influences. Many great artists, writers, and thinkers have found inspiration in their moments of solitude. When we allow ourselves to simply be, we open the door to new possibilities and innovative thoughts. Moreover, solitude provides clarity. When we are constantly surrounded by others, we may lose sight of our own values and desires. The voices of friends and family can drown out our inner voice. However, in solitude, we can listen to that voice. We can reconnect with our goals and dreams, aligning our actions with our true intentions. As we embrace solitude, we may find it to be a transformative experience. It offers a path to enlightenment, guiding us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. The journey may not always be easy. It may require facing uncomfortable truths or sitting with our emotions. Yet, through this process, we find strength and resilience. In the stillness, we learn to trust ourselves. We discover the wisdom that resides within us. It is here, in the heart of solitude, that we can cultivate a sense of inner peace that radiates outward. This peace becomes a source of strength as we navigate the challenges of life. As we move through the world, we carry this peace with us, even in the company of others. We become more grounded, more centered, and more present. The connection between solitude and enlightenment enriches our lives, allowing us to experience each moment fully. So, Let us embrace solitude as a friend on our journey. It is a gift that offers us clarity, creativity, and connection. In the quiet moments, we find our true selves in the path to enlightenment. Let solitude be a sanctuary where we can grow, heal, and transform. In the space of aloneness, we can discover the depth of our being and the beauty of life itself. Solitude and mindfulness, a harmonious duo. In the stillness of solitude, we find a special kind of magic. Imagine sitting quietly, breathing softly, and allowing your mind to rest. This is where solitude meets mindfulness. When we are alone, we can truly be present with ourselves. The world outside fades away, and we can focus on the simple act of being. Mindfulness is about paying attention. It means noticing the thoughts that come and go, like clouds drifting across the sky. When you are alone, it's easier to observe these thoughts without judgment. You can ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Or, what thoughts are swirling in my mind? This practice helps you understand yourself better. You begin to recognize patterns, how certain thoughts lead to feelings and actions. Let's take a moment to breathe. Close your eyes, if you wish. Inhale deeply through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth. Feel the air fill your lungs. This simple act can ground you. It brings your focus back to the present moment. In solitude, you can create a space for mindfulness to flourish. You are not distracted by the noise of others or the rush of daily life. Instead, you can simply be. As a Zen master, I encourage you to find a quiet spot. It can be a corner of your room or a peaceful place in nature. Sit comfortably and observe your surroundings. What do you see? What do you hear? Feel the ground beneath you and the air on your skin. Allow your senses to awaken. This is the essence of mindfulness. When we practice mindfulness in solitude, we cultivate a sense of clarity. It's like cleaning a dusty window. Suddenly, everything becomes brighter and clearer. You start to see the beauty in the small things. How sunlight dances on the leaves, the gentle rustle of the wind, or the sound of your own heartbeat. Solitude gives us the freedom to explore our inner world. We can ask deep questions, such as, what truly makes me happy? Or what do I want to achieve in life? In this safe space, we can be honest with ourselves. There is no fear of judgment from others. It is a sanctuary for self-discovery. In Buddhism, we learn that mindfulness is not just a practice. It's a way of living. It teaches us to appreciate the present moment fully. When you are alone, practice being mindful with every breath. Notice how your body feels as you breathe in and out. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. This awareness can bring peace and calm, helping you to connect deeply with yourself. The beauty of solitude is that it teaches us to be comfortable in our own company. Many people fear being alone because they think it leads to loneliness. However, solitude offers a unique opportunity for connection, not with others, but with oneself. It allows us to reflect on our experiences, dreams, and desires. During moments of solitude, you may encounter uncomfortable feelings. Perhaps you feel sadness or anxiety. Rather than pushing these feelings away, embrace them. Acknowledge that they are part of your journey. When you accept these emotions, they lose their power over you. You learn to sit with them and understand why they arise. This is a vital part of mindfulness. As you cultivate mindfulness in solitude, you may find that your thoughts become quieter. The constant chatter of your mind begins to settle. You may even experience moments of profound peace. In these moments, you touch the essence of who you are. It is a feeling of completeness, of wholeness. To enhance your practice, try incorporating meditation into your solitude. Begin with just a few minutes each day. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. If your mind wanders, gently bring your attention back to your breath. This practice helps you develop patience and compassion for yourself. It reinforces the understanding that it's okay to be still and quiet. Remember, mindfulness is not about achieving a particular state. It is simply about being aware of the present moment, without judgment. Whether you are feeling joy, sadness, or confusion, all these feelings are valid. When you are alone, you can experience them fully and allow them to flow through you. In time, you will discover that solitude and mindfulness are like two friends walking together. They support and enrich each other. When you embrace solitude, mindfulness becomes easier to practice. And when you practice mindfulness, you deepen your appreciation for solitude. Together, they create a powerful space for healing and growth. As you continue your journey, carry this awareness with you. Use moments of solitude to check in with yourself. How do you feel? What do you need? Be gentle and kind to yourself during this process. Allow the lessons of solitude to guide you toward a deeper understanding of who you are. The power of solitude and mindfulness is always available to you. You can tap into it whenever you choose. Remember, the next time you feel alone, see it as an opportunity, a chance to connect with yourself on a deeper level. Embrace the stillness and let it wash over you. You are not alone. You are simply experiencing the beauty of your own company. In this space of solitude, you will find the answers you seek. You will learn to trust yourself and recognize your inner wisdom. So, take a moment, breathe, and appreciate the harmony that comes when solitude and mindfulness unite. They are powerful allies on your journey to self-discovery and peace. The ultimate freedom of solitude. As we reach the final chapter of our journey into the power of solitude, let us reflect on the ultimate freedom that comes with being alone. Imagine a vast open field where you can run freely, dance, or simply sit and breathe. In this space of solitude, there is no judgment, no expectations, only you and your thoughts, like clouds drifting through the sky. Solitude teaches us to embrace our true selves. When we are alone, we can peel back the layers of who we think we are and discover the essence of our being. There is a saying, to know oneself is to love oneself. In solitude, we have the chance to listen to our hearts, understand our desires, and recognize our strengths. We can ponder our dreams without the noise of the outside world pulling us in different directions. In this stillness, we learn the art of self-compassion. How often do we speak to ourselves in harsh tones? When alone, we can practice kindness towards ourselves. It is in these quiet moments that we can nurture our inner child, allowing ourselves to feel joy, sadness, and everything in between without shame. Solitude gives us the permission to be vulnerable and real. Think of the lotus flower. It grows in muddy waters, but rises above to bloom beautifully. Just as the lotus flourishes in solitude, we too can rise above our challenges when we embrace our alone time. When we accept solitude, we create a space for our thoughts to settle. Like a still pond, our minds can reflect the beauty of life more clearly. In Buddhism, we often speak of impermanence, the idea that everything is constantly changing. Solitude allows us to accept this truth. When we are alone, we can observe our thoughts and feelings without getting caught up in them. We can see how they arise and fade away, like waves in the ocean. This observation teaches us that we are not our thoughts. We are the awareness that watches them come and go. Let's consider the importance of mindfulness. When we are alone, we can practice being present. In these moments, we can focus on our breath, the sensations in our body, and the world around us. Each breath becomes an anchor, grounding us in the now. With practice, we learn to appreciate the beauty of simple things, a gentle breeze, the rustle of leaves, or the sound of our own heartbeat. These moments of mindfulness enrich our lives and bring us peace. Solitude also opens the door to creativity. Many artists, writers, and thinkers have sought time alone to find inspiration. When distractions are removed, our minds can wander freely. Ideas flow like water from a spring, unimpeded by the expectations of others. In solitude, we can explore new passions, create, and innovate. This creative spark often ignites when we give ourselves the space to think and dream. As we embrace solitude, we discover a profound connection to nature. Alone, we can walk in the woods, feel the earth beneath our feet, and hear the symphony of birds singing. Nature reflects our inner world, showing us the cycles of life, death, and rebirth. Just as the seasons change, so do we. In solitude, we can become attuned to the rhythms of nature, recognizing that we are a part of something much greater. Finally, solitude teaches us the importance of balance. In our fast-paced world, we often forget to pause and reflect. We rush from one task to another, chasing after things that may not bring us true happiness. By embracing moments of solitude, we learn to slow down. We can evaluate our lives, our goals, and our relationships. This balance allows us to prioritize what truly matters, leading to a more fulfilling life. As we conclude this journey, remember that solitude is not something to fear or avoid. It is a powerful tool for self-discovery, growth, and transformation. By embracing your alone time, you open the door to freedom. Freedom from external pressures, freedom to explore your inner world, and freedom to connect with the essence of who you are. In solitude, you can find peace, creativity, and wisdom. Trust in this journey, for it is in the quiet moments that we often find the loudest truths. Let solitude be your teacher, guiding you toward a deeper understanding of yourself and the world around you. Carry this wisdom with you, and may you always find comfort in your own company. With every breath, embrace the beauty of solitude. In the stillness, may you find strength, clarity, and the ultimate freedom of being yourself.